Most people are forgotten within minutes of leaving a room, and they never understand why. They shake hands, say a few polite phrases, smile once or twice, and walk away thinking, well, that went fine. But if you ask the people they just met to recall their name or anything meaningful about them, you would often be met with a blank stare. You have seen this yourself. Someone leaves a meeting, and the moment the door closes, you realize you cannot remember who they were or what they said. Then, in the very same room, another person leaves, and the conversation lingers on them. There was something about her, someone said. I really like that fella, another adds, even though he did nothing dramatic. Two people, same place, same time. One disappears from memory, the other quietly stays. Most men and women believe that being unforgettable is a matter of showing off. They think they must look particularly impressive, dress a certain way, talk a great deal, or dominate the conversation. Some try to be the funniest, others the cleverest, others the loudest voice at the table. They work hard to be noticed, and then are puzzled when they are not truly remembered. At best, people recall them as the one who talked a lot, or the one who kept trying to impress everyone. Yet if you think about the people who made a lasting impression on you, the ones who stayed in your mind and in your heart, they were rarely the noisiest in the room. Often, they were not the most beautiful, the richest, or the most brilliant. Instead, there was something about the way they made you feel in their presence. You walked away feeling a little more important, a little more understood, a little more like yourself. Consider a typical networking event. You meet 10, 15, perhaps 20 people. Cards are exchanged, small talk is made. 2 hours later, on the way home, you flip through the cards and realize you hardly remember who was who. But there is one person you can picture clearly. You remember their face, their tone, even a sentence they said. Why? Something about the encounter felt different. You were not just another name on their list. You were a person in their eyes. Think of your workplace. There may be someone who does not shout, does not brag, does not push themselves forward, yet little by little they become the go-to person everyone trusts. Colleagues seek them out for advice. Managers remember them when an opportunity arises. They are not unforgettable because they perform. They are unforgettable because people feel safe and valued with them. Or think back to a social gathering, a dinner, a party, a wedding. You spoke with many guests, yet weeks later one conversation still stands out. Perhaps it was only 5 or 10 minutes, but the person seemed genuinely interested in you, not just in filling the silence. You walked away thinking, what a kind person, or that was a really good conversation. They might not remember exactly what they said, but they certainly remember how they made you feel. There is a simple reason for this. People do not remember those who merely stood in front of them. They remember those who made them feel distinct and seen. Being unforgettable is not about shining a spotlight on yourself. It is about shining a small, warm light on the person in front of you. Most people never do this. They are so busy thinking about themselves, how they appear, what they will say next, that they leave no emotional footprint in the other person's mind. The encouraging news is that you do not need to become more dramatic, more talkative, or more extraordinary to be remembered. You do not need a big speech, a perfect joke, or a remarkable story. The difference between forgettable and unforgettable is often a very small habit in how you talk to people in the first few minutes. A subtle social move that takes only seconds to perform, but stays with people for weeks, months, sometimes years. In this talk, I will show you that subtle move. I will show you how to use it at work, with friends, and even with your own family, so that you do not pass through their lives like a shadow, but leave behind the warm impression of having truly seen them. And you will be able to do it without acting, performing, or pretending to be anyone other than who you are. I came to a simple but powerful conclusion after years of observing human nature. People never forget the person who makes them feel specifically, not vaguely, important. Most compliments drift away like smoke because they are too general. Nice to meet you. You seem great. That's interesting. Such phrases are polite, but they carry no weight. They recognize nothing in particular. They could be said to anyone, at any moment, in any room. And because they are generic, they leave no mark on the memory. Human beings remember the details that belong to them. When someone notices a real effort they made, a value they hold, a challenge they are carrying, or a small piece of their story, and then treats it with respect, that moment becomes anchored in their mind. It is not the size of the gesture that creates the impression. It is the precision. The human law is simple. People do not remember how impressed they were with you. They remember how recognized they felt by you. When you offer a vague compliment, the mind tosses it aside. When you offer a precise recognition, the mind stores it carefully. Let me define the subtle move that makes this possible. It has 3 steps, and each is quiet, small, almost invisible, yet together they change the texture of an interaction entirely. Step 1. Notice one specific detail. It can be something they mention in passing, a responsibility, an effort, a value, a project, a choice. You are not looking for something extraordinary. You are simply paying attention to the places where they invest their energy or care. Step 2. Ask one sincere question about that detail. Not a long interrogation, not a performance of interest, just a gentle, curious question that invites them to share a little more. Step 3. Reflect the detail back to them with appreciation. This is the key. Put into your own words what you noticed and attach a brief recognition to it. You are naming back something important about them that they themselves often do not hear. Let me give you a small example of how this might sound in everyday life. You stayed late to finish this project. That takes real commitment. How did you manage it with everything else you have going on? Nothing dramatic, no speech, no attempt to dazzle. And yet, there are 3 precise movements in that one line. You noticed the effort. You valued the effort. You asked about the effort. This combination creates a moment the other person rarely receives. People move through life giving and giving without anyone naming their efforts back to them. When you do it, gently and without exaggeration, they feel seen in a way that is almost startling. Let me offer a few micro examples so you can feel how simple and universal this is. A coworker mentions they're taking night classes. You're studying after working all day? That takes endurance. What pushed you to take that step? A parent sighs and says they have 2 small children at home. You're balancing work and 2 little ones. That's a lot of love and strength. How do you manage mornings? A friend casually mentions they're helping an elderly relative. You're caring for them quietly on top of everything else. That's a generous thing to do. How are you holding up with it? These are not tricks. They are acknowledgments, brief, specific recognitions that people carry with them long after the conversation ends. Each one creates a small emotional snapshot, like a photograph taken at the exact moment they felt valued. Specificity is what gives these snapshots their clarity. Reflection is what makes them memorable. You do not become unforgettable by being extraordinary. You become unforgettable by helping someone see the worth in their ordinary efforts. The subtle move is simple. You turn a vague interaction into a specific recognition, and people do not forget those who recognize them. Before you can use this subtle move with ease, you must first prepare something that no one sees, your inner attitude. Most people walk into a conversation asking themselves, how do I appear? Am I saying the right thing? Do I look confident enough? That question makes you stiff and self-conscious. Your attention turns inward, and when your attention is on yourself, you cannot truly notice anyone else. I suggest a different question as you approach people. What is unique about this person? Not in a grand, dramatic sense, but in a simple, human way. Ask yourself quietly, what is one thing this person is carrying, trying, or caring about? Where are they putting effort? As soon as you ask those questions, your mind begins to scan for answers. Your focus shifts away from your own worries and toward the other person's world. That shift alone makes you calmer. You are no longer on stage. You are in the audience, watching and listening. In the first few minutes of any interaction, there are certain clues you can listen for. People often reveal more than they realize in their first sentences. Listen for 3 kinds of things. First, listen for recent effort. This could be a project, a goal, or a challenge they mention in passing. They might say, I just started this job. Or, we're in the middle of a big deadline. Or, I've been training for a race. Behind each of those statements is effort. Learning something new. Working, under pressure, pushing the body. Second, listen for values. People constantly, and often unconsciously, tell you what matters to them. I spend most evenings with my kids. Reveals a value of family. I've been taking some online courses. Shows a value of learning. I volunteer online. Weekends. Points to a value of service. These are doorways into what they care about most. Third, listen for personal pride. This might be something they chose, created, or stuck with. I built this team from scratch. I restored that old car, or even I finally got into a good sleep routine. Anywhere you sense they feel quietly proud, you have found a powerful point of connection. Let me give you a few very ordinary examples. Someone says, I just started this job 3 weeks ago. That tells you they are in a season of newness, maybe uncertainty, maybe excitement. Another says, I've got 2 small kids at home. That tells you about responsibility, fatigue, love, and likely a full schedule. A third says, I'm trying to get healthier, and behind that simple phrase stands effort, discipline, perhaps past struggles. Once you have listened for these clues, you can perform the 3-step subtle move in simple, everyday language. Step 1, name what you noticed. You're balancing a full-time job and studying at night. You've just moved to a new city and started a new role. You're raising 2 small children and working at the same time. By naming it, you show that you actually heard them. You are not just waiting for your turn to speak. You have taken in something real about their life. Step 2, add a short recognition. That takes a lot of discipline. That's a big change to handle all at once. That must require a great deal of patience and energy. This part is vital. You are not merely repeating the fact. You are attaching value to it. You are saying, what you are doing is not small. It is worthy of notice. Step 3, ask one simple, curious question. How do you keep going when you're tired? How has the move been for you so far? What helps you manage everything on the tough days? This question opens a small space where they can talk more deeply, if they wish. It does not pry. It invites. You have told them, in effect, I see your effort, and I care enough to ask. Put together, the move might sound like this. You're working full-time and going to night school. That takes a lot of discipline. How do you keep yourself motivated? Or, you've been getting up early every day for your kids, while still working long hours. That's a lot to carry. How do you manage it? Notice how natural this can be. It does not sound like a technique. It sounds like what it truly is, sincere human attention. There are, however, a few common mistakes to avoid. The first is being fake or exaggerated. People can sense when your words are inflated or insincere. You do not need to say, you're the most incredible person I've ever met. A simple, honest recognition is far more powerful. That's not easy. It says a lot about you. The second mistake is turning their story into your story too quickly. Someone says, I'm taking care of my mother right now, and you immediately reply, oh, I did that with my father years ago, let me tell you. And then you talk for 5 minutes. You have taken the spotlight they briefly opened and swung it back onto yourself. There is a time to share your experiences, but give theirs room first. Let them feel heard before you bring in your own tale. The third mistake is giving praise with no detail behind it. You're amazing. You're awesome. You're incredible. Sound flattering. But if they are not tied to anything specific, they do not land deeply. People do not just want to be told that they are good. They want to know what you see that is good. That is why naming the effort or value matters so much. If you practice this inner ritual and these small outer behaviors, you will find that conversations begin to change. People open up more quickly. They lean in. They remember you, not because you were dazzling, but because you were one of the rare few who truly paid attention. People forget those who talk to everyone. They remember those who truly see them. Let us now step into a few ordinary days and see how this subtle move changes everything. Scene 1. At work with a new colleague. A new colleague joins your team. On their first day, you pass them in the hallway or see them at the coffee machine. Most people say something like, hi, welcome, busy day, isn't it? They smile, reply, yes, very busy. And both of you move on. Nothing wrong with it, but the moment is forgettable. You were polite, but you did not leave a mark. 10 other people said nearly the same thing. Now, watch what happens when you use the subtle move. You strike up a short conversation, and in the first minute or two, you learn that they moved from another city for this job. Perhaps they mention, I used to live 3 hours away, or I've just relocated from another country. Most people would nod and change the subject. You do something slightly different. You pause, look at them, and say, you moved all the way here for this job. That's a big decision. How did you know this was the right step for you? In that instant, the air changes. You have not just noticed a fact. You have named the courage behind it and asked about. You have told them, your choice matters enough for me to be curious. They may smile with a mixture of surprise and relief. They might say, honestly, it was scary, and then share a little of their story. The emotional effect is larger than the words. They feel brave, seen, and warned, respected, especially on a day when they might be feeling insecure and out of place. Weeks later, if someone asks them, who was kind to you on your first day? They will likely say, there was one person who really asked about my mood. And they will remember you. Not because you did something dramatic, but because you recognized something important in them at a moment when it mattered. Scene 2, at a social event or party. Now imagine you are at a party or a wedding reception. You are introduced to someone new. The standard script goes, so, what do you do? They answer, I'm an engineer. You say, oh, nice. And the conversation begins to fade. You both feel the slight awkwardness of a topic that never quite took flight. Let us try again with a little more attention. You ask, what do you do? And this time, you listen a bit more carefully. They say, I'm an engineer. I work on small bridges in rural areas. Most people would still nod and move on. You have just heard your doorway. You respond. You design bridges for smaller towns? That must feel meaningful. Your work literally connects people. What do you enjoy most about it? Notice what you did. You picked up the detailed small bridges in rural areas. You reflected it back with appreciation that must feel meaningful. Your work connects people. Then you ask one simple question. What do you enjoy most about it? Many people go through years of work without anyone framing their job that way. Your sentence gives them a new lens on their own life. They begin telling you about the satisfaction of seeing a road open, of helping communities reach schools, hospitals, or markets. They talk not just about their tasks, but about their sense of purpose. Later, when they think back on that evening, they may not remember everyone they spoke to, but they will remember the person who said, your work connects people. You turned a generic job into a meaningful story, and you became attached to that moment in their mind. Scene 3. At home with someone you've known for years. It is easy to forget that the people we see every day are still carrying heavy loads, still making quiet efforts that go unmentioned. A spouse who holds the household together. A parent who keeps showing up. A sibling who handles tasks no one else wants. Familiarity can blind us. We stop seeing the details. Picture a parent of young children, your spouse, or a brother or sister. Day after day, they get up early, prepare meals, organize school bags, manage appointments, and juggle 1,000 small tasks. You appreciate them, of course, but perhaps you rarely say anything specific. Conversations become purely practical. Did you do this? Can you grab that? The person begins to feel like a function, not a human being. Now imagine you pause one morning and really look. You say, you've been getting up early every morning to prepare things for the kids. That takes a lot of love. How do you manage it when you're exhausted? For a moment, they may not know how to respond. They are not used to being seen like that. Perhaps their eyes soften. Perhaps they exhale and say, some days I don't know how I do it. And then share a bit of their inner world. Your words do not magically remove their fatigue, but they do something precious. They tell them that their effort is not invisible. The emotional imprint here is deep. People can go for years in close relationships without hearing specific recognition. When you finally offer it, you become unforgettable in the place that matters most at home. Right where routine had made you seem blind, you suddenly show that you can still see. That moment can do more for a relationship than a dozen grand gestures, because it speaks directly to the heart. I notice you. These scenes are ordinary. An office corridor, a noisy party, a busy kitchen. Yet in each one, a quiet, specific recognition turns a passing interaction into a memory. It isn't grand gestures that make you unforgettable. It's one or two moments where someone realizes this person really saw me. Let us bring this all together. Being unforgettable has very little to do with being flashy, loud, or impressive. The world is full of people trying to shine, to stand out, to perform, and yet most of them fade quickly from memory. The men and women we truly remember are not always the most talented or entertaining they are, the ones who gave us a brief, genuine experience of feeling clearly seen, Unforgettable does not mean everyone is looking at me. Unforgettable means, for a moment, I was looking only at you. You have learned a simple move for doing exactly that. Notice, name, appreciate, ask. You notice one real detail of effort or value in the other person. You name it back to them in your own words. You add a short, sincere appreciation. You ask one small, curious question that lets them open up. You may have seen yourself as ordinary, shy, or not interesting enough. You may have believed that you had to be more charming, more successful, or more talkative for people to remember you. But people do not remember you for your performance. They remember you for how you made them feel in your presence. You can adopt a new label for yourself, starting today. I am someone who notices what others carry, and that makes me unforgettable to them. You do not need a spotlight to live this way. You need only a quiet decision to pay closer attention. To support that decision, you might let a few simple sentences become part of your inner vocabulary. I don't need to impress. I need to notice. People remember me because I make them feel specifically seen. My subtle attention is more powerful than any performance. Say them to yourself before you enter a room, pick up the phone, or sit down with someone you care about. They will remind you where your true power lies, not in showing off, but in showing up. Now, let us turn this from an idea into a habit. Each day, choose just one person. It might be a colleague, a neighbor, a stranger serving you in a shop, or someone in your own home. Listen for one detail, a responsibility, a value, a quiet effort. Then use the move, name it, appreciate it, ask about it. That is all. At the end of the day, you might ask yourself, who did I really see today? If the answer is at least one person, you are already becoming someone different. Over time, people will begin to feel something in your presence they cannot quite name, but they will not forget it. Before you go, I invite you to practice this with the very next person you see after this video. Do not wait for a perfect moment. Use the first ordinary moment you are given. You may be surprised at how quickly the world feels warmer when you change the way you look at it. If you wish to deepen this, come back and listen again. These ideas grow stronger each time you hear them. And now, I would like to know a little about you. Where are you from? How old are you? In which area of your life do you most want to be unforgettable? At work, in your friendships, in your relationships, or in your family? Share it in the comments below. Your story matters. And if you want to keep learning simple, human ways to connect so deeply that people respect you, remember you, and genuinely like you, make sure to subscribe. Your most unforgettable moments with others may still be ahead of you.